My question is, do you think that the humanities have a role to play in the struggle for social justice? And if so, what do you think that role is?
Oh, absolutely, without a doubt. Yeah. I think in the US context, which is the one I know best, the humanities and the arts have really been at the center of social justice movements probably since right after World War II. And if you think about, the power of poetry and literature to really illuminate people's lived experiences and inspire people, um, I think that I have a couple of different thoughts on this matter. First of all, the humanities, together with other disciplines, including, qualitative and quantitative social sciences and others, are really needed to understand the structures that underlie social injustice as we encounter it. And the humanities also help us go back to those traditions that we're trying to uncover or recover. So thinking about the cultural heritage of different groups in our great country coming together, and how we might best preserve the history and the literature and the ways in which different cultures can inspire all of us and really inform identities. I think another angle here is there's a scholar who has posed a wonderful question about the Anthropocene. So in other words, this new era we're living through where humans are really the dominant geological force, the Anthropocene. So these scholars have said, well, what about the anthropos in the Anthropocene? In other words, it's not just a generic humanity. It is a specific set of human beings that have played the largest role triggering the changes in our planet. So the humanities have a lot to offer there too, in terms of analysis, cultural analysis, historical analysis, and that kind of thing. And the other kind of broader context here really is what Pope Francis most famously has called integral ecology in his wonderful encyclical Laudato Si. He really calls upon us to care for one another and for our world, our earth, our planet, in a way that works together. And so there's a beautiful way of integrating, to go back to that idea again, diversity, equity, inclusion, sense of belonging, with this idea of also living well together with non-human others on our planet. And so I know I'm giving a rather broad answer, but I think all of these are factors driving the importance of the humanities to social justice work, as well as, what is that positive moment after the critique is over, after the protests? What are we aiming toward? We have to have something positive to offer people to inspire them and lift them up. And it reminds me of a phrase that I learned, back in the 90s when I was a humanities graduate student. Somebody stood up at a conference, and this was the era when deconstruction was all the rage. And they said, okay, you've deconstructed the binary, now what? And that stayed with me because I think it's a beautiful, pithy encapsulation of that question of, all right, you've done the critique, you figured out what's wrong, and then what's that positive moment that we're going to enter into after? And I think that's where the humanities have a really crucial role to play, that question of identity and of action and of what matters, what our values are.